And I'm actually going to switch over to casting screen.
Yeah, because we've already got some bands on the table. Blastoiseon and Zoroarcheon already off the table, along with that Leafeon and that Glaceon as well. So once again, some ignorance to Umbreon's name, completely avoiding the pick ban and might be avoiding another draft rotation as well, Kyle.
It's very possible. It's interesting to see, the rise and fall of Umbreon in the competitive scene. I don't know if we saw it a ton in the tournament earlier, but we definitely haven't seen it tonight, despite it being available. And no team is really interested in taking it. They're taking these premier defenders and putting high priority on this Trevenant, putting high priority on the Crustle, and then a lot of teams are banning this Blastoise in return. But 2 EVs going to be going over to the side of No Title, and we're setting up for maybe a Speedster arc from Liko, and maybe a Decidueye.
Yeah, it's going to be super interesting to see where this Decidueye does end up going and who ends up playing it. But No Title repping the Evolutions and Espeon and Sylveon at the moment. Espeon's going to be especially good into that Dodrio. The Metagross, though, might be a little bit more of a problem, and Sylveon's going to have to really rely on their Hyper Voice to really break down the bulk that V1 is bringing to the table. But that's a Pirate King Absol. And for those of you who don't know that, that's a Secret Tech Classic coming out from them there. So it's going to be super interesting to see how this Absol performs into this lineup. And they're really going to be hunting owls when it comes to their job in this game.
Yeah, they're going to be absolutely just trying to target that owl. Dodrio definitely squishy, but kind of slippery and hard to get, especially with all the different options that it has to dash away. Oh, but I'm thinking that we're gonna probably see a stored power from this Espeon to try to maybe slow down that Dodrio. It's kind of a common pick that we see to counter it. It's not necessarily the be all end all of the Dodrio, but it is something that can slow it from scaling and slow it from doing all the dives that it wants to do.
Yeah, this Dodrio is definitely going to be a little bit of an X factor here because I feel like there's no real like true incentivization for either moveset here. They really could stick with that tri-attack to really try to zone out and play around this Absol and this Espeon and avoid the Trevenant Woodhammers. But I feel like the Drill Peck is a perfectly fine angle here because there's not a lot of CC on the side of No Title to stop that Dodrio from rampaging along.
But here we go. Version 1, No Title, game number 1 of your winners final. Best of 3. Winner's going to be going on to the Grand Finals. Loser is going to be going on to that best of 3 losers final. But here we go. Mr. Turtle's looking to make a beeline towards this red buff. They see that it has already been taken by the Hoopa and Dodo. And they're just going to go back and they're going to just try to farm some of the safe farm on their side of the map.
Yeah, and honestly, interesting place to put this this Sylveon here in this top side to really try to counter the bulk that the Beldum, once it levels up, will bring into this game. I feel like considering that this pick has gone to the top side, nice secure there from Smash, by the way, that they will be possibly looking at that Mystical Fire moveset to really just make Locke's life a misery while they try to land those arrows.
Oh, wow, a big pick off that Absol, doing a ton of damage, getting a nice dunk of 15 in there. But ooh, this Espeon is running dangerously low. They are going to get taken out by Liko on that Dodrio. And actually, they're going with that Psy-Shock build. So very interesting there on the side of No Title to, go with that opposed to something that is kind of a sure hit and able to take out the Dodrio a little bit easier and land some of those hits.
And unfortunately, this Absol is choosing to really just continue to bully this V1 bot side. so far behind still. Locke just barely finding level 5 while we still have a tiny little level with 2 minutes already left on the clock. Pirate King does find the secure there, and that will get them level 7, unlocking them for the sucker punch right there, and allowing them to really win that dual turrets coming in for the assist, and giving them an egg in those trying times, but not trying times at all. No Title really running away with this early game at the moment.
Yeah, and Absol's going to help clear those birds very quickly. Hoopa stealing a berry as with their Musician passive. And oh no, this Trevenant, they go into the waiting arms of that Trevenant's Woodhammer, and it looks like No Title is making a siege on this bottom goal. They are going to dunk it with a 2 overcap, so not a huge overcap, but they're not done. They're going to continue pushing onto this tier 2. No, just kidding. I'm joking. They're backing up. They're going to try to get these 720 birds.
Yeah, I feel like that was a smart backup there, because Whaley could have really just bought down that top lane and turned things to the table at the moment. No Title taking an expert retreat right there, and honestly a very disciplined one right there. Smash does go down in the top side, and that is going to look like it's going to allow V1 to get some goals up in that top side. Pirate King is going to be able to respond, and No Title defending that bottom side, waiting for this basement Reggie that they're going to be looking to take, and V1 putting priority on this top lane Regieleki.
Yeah, it's going to be a Regirock that's going to be cleared out by No Title, no parm, no foul, but we have Absol going in with their Unite move, but it is secured by the Psyshock of the Espeon. So, or no, what secured that ribbon? I didn't even catch to see what was getting that final secure.
Yeah, I didn't catch it either, honestly, but still, it goes over to V1. The Computing Crush only buys a little bit of time, but not enough time for Whaley to land the dunk. So unfortunately, the Regieleki does break that top tier goal with a 15-point overcap. Not exactly the plan that V1 looked like. They were really ready to continue to push that tier 2 towards or that Regieleki towards the tier 2, and a big fight breaking out. Locke finally finding level 9 is gonna open up with a huge knock, but that's a lot of KOs right there for Smash and for this Trevenant. Whaley, you're running for the hills, and No Title still managing to keep in this game, even though they've got a lot of points that have been dunked in against them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think No Title's done here. They're going to try to make a play on this goal. And Blissey is going to get a nice 30 cap here, leaving this goal at 35. But, oh, wow, that's a huge snipe shot and Rock Tomb combo from the side of version 1. Metagross able to clean that up. That is expert, and that is exactly what you want your tank to be doing, especially with how that Crustal, those Rock Tombs can just kind of almost just control the arena.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing who is more silent right now, because that Metagross is your XP leader at the moment, and already having access to that Computing Crush yet again. They're really gonna possibly be looking to use this. Absol does have access to its Unite move and clicks into level 11 as well, so No Title not too far behind on the XP lead, but V1 does have the point lead, and it looks like they're going to continue this tempo of points with the Regieleki. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, the roll does end up going to this Regirock, so going to be really crucial for this Trevenant and this Blissey to be getting that special defense and defense buff.
Yeah, the Regirock is going to go down, but here we go. Regieleki is starting to push into the tier 2 goal. Knock Knock is opening up the fight, trying to do some damage into the side of No Title. Does a ton of damage, doesn't get any of the KOs, but Metagross does clean up that Trevenant. Smash is going to be going down on that Sylve, and here we go. A ton of points here for version 1. They take the lead 271 to 133, but more importantly, they now have access to that main goal for the side of No Title, and with a Hoopa, that is extremely dangerous, Ribbon.
Yeah, and honestly, it looked like V1 had a masterful macro play there. It looked like the call was to push that Regieleki, and if things looked like they were going to have the slightest eke of going sour, they immediately would take that Rings Unbound that Whaley did dispense. to push that tier 1. But since the tier 2 push does go well and they do get the Regieleki in, breaking that tier 2 goal, it's not necessary for them to take that Rings Unbound. And even though that Hoopa did go down, that's only a level 10 support on the side of V1. So really just masterful macro outplay from them and continuing to hold this pad against 5 members of No Title. This 5v5 on the top side. Rustic landing a huge 3-man X-Scissor lock, opening up yet again, finding another knockout. V1 finding more KOs as well, and No Title really just bashed away from another push and really just scaling up right now. V1's looking really good.
Absolutely. Yeah, they're looking really strong here early, or I guess mid-game. 271, 251 is your score at this moment. And they're not necessarily done. They might be looking for this Regieleki to help push into that central goal of No Title, and that's exactly what they do. Oh, Crustle gets KO'd right before getting back to base via Hoopa portal, and that's going to be huge because they're going to be without a tank for this next engage.
Wow, and Locke is just really making it rain right now. That was a 4-man arrow on top of a 2-man arrow, and even though they lost their tank, V1 is still able to keep the pressure on top of this Regieleki. Rustic is back. This is a 5v5 that looks like it could break out into a full-blown Rayquaza fight. Dodrio does land the secure, but No Title's pulling the trigger and making this Ray fight, Kyle.
Yeah, absolutely. 205 left. This Regieleki is going to start pushing into the tier on the home base, and we have a Psychic Solaire from this Espeon. They do go down. 2 members down for No Title. Make it 3, and this is spelling D-A-N-G-E-R. I'm no good at math, but I can spell, and that is danger on the side of No Title because this Rayquaza is going to be getting ripped on the side of this Decidueye, and actually they're going to maybe stall on out, and instead they're gonna just go for this push because that Regieleki walked in, and that's a ton of points for version 1.
Yeah, and without access to the Absol Unite, No Title really doesn't have any true rip, so it's going to be really difficult for them to take this Rayquaza as well. Silent still holding the doors down. They have to blow the Bliss Assistance to knock him out. This Absol pick finally doing something for No Title. They're able to get on top of the Decidueye as well. 2 members down here for V1. No Title could look to make an even greater push, but the Crustle does go down and buying some time as well. Minute on the clock, but No Title needs 500 plus points to score right now if they want to get this win.
Yeah, I think you know what time it is, Ribbon. It's time to grip it and rip it because this is your only angle. You're going to have to get this Rayquaza. You're going to have to get a ton of points, and that's exactly what No Title's looking to do. They do secure it off of that Blissey Egg, and here we go. We're going to be looking for some points. We're going to see Blissey maybe peel off, grab 100 points here. We do have a couple more members starting to go down there. Rubble Rouser going to start the damage here. 320 to 651. There's still 30 seconds. Absol's going to get a 50 bomber in that top path. That's going to be 100 points. It's not going to be enough, though, right now, Ribbon. What are you seeing?
Oh, I'm seeing this Trevenant. They still do have 41 points, and the Absol was able to pick up some points on the ground. Pirate King does put a little bit more change in the bank on that tier 2, but it's still looking like it is not enough. V1 just put in so much points. The Sylveon 78 does go in now. Possibly now he needs to look for another score. Absol does get another 10 on the docket, but it's going to be a really close game, and us Unite players don't do math. Oh, God, it's going to be really close.
Yeah, it is going to be close. I do think version 1 just squeaks by the hair of their chinny chin. That's exactly what happened. 675, 556 is your final. A little too close for comfort if you're version 1. You control a majority of that match. Obviously, you give up a couple of KOs, but I think when you have bought yourself that huge of a lead, you're okay with it. And it's a big game. Locke, 89k damage. I mean, all around the board, it looks like they played really well. A little bit scary there at the end, but overall, I think they're okay with it.
Yeah, I do think V1 is absolutely okay with that game. They did get bullied a lot early game by that Absol and by that Espeon, but when it came later on in, V1 was really just able to lock in and keep Locke protected. And once that Absol was really unable to get on top of that Decidueye, you really saw Locke just absolutely make it rain with those arrows, looking like Goldango out on the Thea Sky ruins. V1 just looks way too strong when they've got Whaley on this Hoopa, because just allowing them to really out tempo. I feel like V1 just really had control of that entire game when it came to decisions in macro, and even just the really, even though it looks like they even had options, especially like on that tier 2 push when Whaley bought out the rings unbound to really crash into that tier 1 bot side, was a really big macro play. So really just gave no title, no win situation there, and really kept the pressure on. That Bliss Egg did secure the Rayquaza. Unfortunately, the Tri attacks being blocked by a lot of members of No Title. But I really do have to shout out Liko for performing for this V1 roster. That Dodrio triple rampage that got them through the Psychic Solaire and shut that down. Really just allowed V1 to win that team fight up on the top side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's absolutely massive. Yeah. You saw No Title, use a lot of their Unite stock. They almost came back. It was a lot closer than it needed to be, but I think version 1 is pretty happy with how they played. Like we said, they kind of got a lot of their you got a lot of their points from that Hoopa Unite. Sending them all to base, getting a lot of those scores in. So they had a bit of an insurance cushion, so they could afford it, but it did get super close and maybe a little too close if you're version 1. But I imagine that they're going to come back, figure out kind of what they're looking to do and do exactly what they're meant to do. And Wailord on that Hoopa might see maybe a little bit of a target ban. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I really just think you need to get Whaley off of this Hoopa. It really just lets V1 really do what they want to do in controlling the macro and making the smart decisions really all across the game right there. V1 is just way too creative with this Hoopa pick, and it's still, yet again, not off the table, so I would not be surprised if V1 immediately locks this Hoopa for their first pick.
Mm-hmm. Very, very possible. Very possible. But again, are we gonna see it, Ribbon? This is a trend. How broken is Crustle? Again, Crustle first pick. We're seeing it time and time again. And to combat that, we're also seeing that Trevenant pick. And again, those are kind of the two premier defenders that a lot of teams are putting a lot of priority on.
Yeah, and I feel like V1's sitting pretty and nice in this draft. They're able to just get this Hoopa without much contention, so much that they're going to be able to really push it back and find some priority picks. Metagross has been such a hotly contested pick in this series, and V1's really making it perform. Liko taking away that Espeon from No Title as well, so the options are looking really limited for them. Smash is going to bring out that Lucario yet again, and we're seeing the birds, but a different kind of bird, as No Title locks in Cramorant.
What do you mean a bird? You got that Cramorant again? I'm not sure if this will be a dive or a mage cram, but I love to see it. You don't see it a ton in competitive play, but it's definitely got its place. I think it does a lot of burst damage. The Gatling Gulp Missile is a great Unite move that's able to kind of initiate some fights and keep your team protected if something goes a little bit awry. Along with that Blissey, I love using that Blissey onto that Cram Unite. It seems like it just does a ton of damage. It's able to kind of keep that Cram alive for the entire Unite move. And we're going to see Smash once again grab that Lucario into that top lane.
Yeah, and Pirate King looking like another Venusaur game for them. Honestly, it's going to be a little bit interesting to see what moveset Pirate King ends up going for, because if it wasn't for that Fire Spin Delphox, I would say this is a perfectly fine angle to go for that Giga Drain Pedal Dance moveset and really just cause some disruption in that V1 backline. But it's going to be interesting to see. I feel like it's going to be a little bit of an X factor, but if Cram can really find some critical Gatling Bolt missiles to fire onto the line of V1, this Metagross pick might have a little bit of trouble when they bring up the Thunderdome.
Yeah, the Thunderdome is definitely one of the best arenas right now. It seems like it's been really working for V1 Silent R. I'm not gonna mess that Silent up. I'm just not gonna do it. I'm not messing it up. I made a promise in chat that I'm not gonna mess up Silent R versus Silent Red, and I'm gonna try to stick to it my best.
I am doing my best as well. Like really, just my eyes are going to be on Pirate King to see how they perform on this Venusaur because with that Cramorant, they do have a lot of interesting angles that they can take with this composition and really respond to whatever V1 decides to do because their pathways and movesets are probably going to be a little bit more straightforward. We have seen Liko using a lot of that Psyshock Espeon as they've been on the screen, so it'll be interesting to see if they stick to that or go for that stored power moveset to really try to dissuade that Cram from locking in and locking down with that Gatling Bolt missile.
Absolutely. And wow, Silent R was able to steal the last hit from the Bunnelby away from Smash on that Luca. Not something that's very easy to do. So really good and strong play there. Smash gonna try to grab that one. They do with that quick attack, and that's pretty big if you're Silent R being able to take at least a little bit of farm on the side of no title.
Yeah, now Whaley trying to take a page out of Turt's book. Turt's does end up getting the secure on that red buff, and Pirate King still does find level 5. But Smash and Silent R are even in levels, so this 2v2 down bot is going to be pretty crucial because Rustic already evolves on that level 4. They're going to send that Espeon up into the top side and really put the pressure on that top lane right there. Tier 1 Lock does land a nice little score, inching ever closer to that level 6, and unfortunately it doesn't look like there's much No Title can do there because V1 getting the dunks in.
Yeah, getting the dunks in, and there's no Citrus Berry to heal it up, and unfortunately Mr. Turts, there's only so much you can do giving one egg at a time, so they just kind of had to stay back and watch it happen. But here we go, Silent Red on this Trevenant, gonna try to do their best to maybe stale some of the enemy farm, maybe get a stack in or two. I couldn't remember if they were stacking, but it's very possible that they are stacking maybe a cookie or something. But 8-minute birds are up and no one's here right at the spawn, but it does look like version 1 is gonna be in position to take a majority of these.
Yeah, and locking in that mystical fire makes me already think they're going to be immediately finding that that flame charge once they hit that level 7. So it's going to be an interesting angle here from Pirate King. They did take the sludge bomb, so I do think they're going to be locking in to that Venusaur beam that we all know and love. Meanwhile, Silent on the top side rocking that meteor mash, and Turts having to defend a 1v2 at the moment.
720 birds are entering the fray. Metagross is in here trying to clear them. They are able to clear the large Altaria, and that's exactly what they do. Level 8, not quite a Metagross yet, but they still pack an absolute punch. Crustle getting a KO on Cramorant in No Title's jungle, and they're not done. The Trevenant is going to try to have to defend against some of these X-Scissors and maybe even another dunk, but Crustle is like Thanos. They are inevitable, and they are going to get those scores in.
Yeah, and V1 already taking extremely commanding lead of this early game as we transition into the mid game. Locke already getting closer and closer to level 9. The Psychic Solaire online for Liko as well. Compute and Crush online for Silent R. And that's going to be really critical, especially when you have 3 Unite moves. 2-0 on the side of No Title, and Turts, unfortunately, I don't think is going to be able to stop this tier 1 push. They're going to be able to get the goals, get the dunks in. Fate is unfortunately dodged when they bring down that Hurricane. The Mage Cram is going to be really interesting to see here, especially with the interaction with those portals. Hopefully they can land a critical Hurricane that can really turn this game around.
I wasn't quite able to do it right there, and you could say Blink 182 knew all about it because Fate fell short this time. But here we go. Looks like version 1 does have a little bit of a lead to maybe potentially start ripping this Regieleki off the map. It is 137 to 26 here at the 540 mark. And version 1, we have this Metagross, we have Espeon both up here for this Regieleki, but it looks like we have maybe a tiny little bit of a push down bottom, but doesn't look like No Title is ready to quite engage this just yet.
Yeah, they do catch the very glimpsing eyes of that Delphox, but it does not going to stop No Title from executing this push. Two members from V1 stuck on the top side, and it looks like they might be able to collapse here. That Regieleki does go into No Title's top tier 2, but the fanciful fireworks find themselves on top of Pirate King, able to get out of dodge, but the gulp missile gulps away two members of version 1 Rustic on the hills, and No Title looking like they're gonna break this tier 1.
Yeah, Fate absolutely did not fall short that time with that double KO. Trevenant gonna use the Phantom Forest to break open this fight, getting another KO, and this Registeel is now in position for No Title to take it off the board. But here we go, Whaley brings in the cavalry. The rings are unbound. This is gonna be contested. Who is gonna come out victorious for this Registeel? It is gonna go over to the side of version 1, and they are gonna clean up this fight. 4 members down, and it's Whaley that gets this confirm on that Registeel. So not only that, they're adding insult to injury. They have Hoopa that can take again them to the enemy goal. But wow, version 1 is just taking an absolute commanding lead of this match, Ribbon.
Man, how broken is Wailord? Let's be honest here. That Rings Unbound was perfectly timed with the respawns of version 1 and really just allowed them to take that Register, grip it and rip it, and continue to hold this very strong lead that they do have. Delphox already level 12. Metagross already level 13. Silent R is looking to silence Silent Red at the moment. But Unite's are coming online for the side of No Title. So this top lane, Regieleki, could really change how this late game plays.
Yeah, they have the Unite moves online, so they could potentially do that. Smashes opens up the fight with that power punch directly up onto that Espeon. Looks like Locke is running again, that Mystical Fire, trying to do a bit of damage into the dash. They throw the fanciful fireworks. Gatling Gulp Missile is down. We have all the Unite moves being expended here. Crustle down, Trevenant down, Metagross down, Delphox now down. Huge engage from No Title, and it might be the turns have tabled. They at least survive that engage and get a ton of catch-up XP as No Title.
Oh my gosh, but Whaley somehow finds Pirate King on 1 HP in a dream, turning that sit quickly into a nightmare. This Regieleki is still up top and still hitting, honestly playing for both teams at the moment. Smash is turning and burning with that close combat, looking for the secure with the puppets a little bit wide. It's going to be either way. It does go to Liko on the Espeon. So DANGR, yet again, we find ourselves here, No Title, getting a Regieleki pushed into their home goal, and it's really going to be interesting to see how No Title responds, especially since V1 is all nice and comfy in this Ray Pit.
Yeah, they might be setting up for maybe a little bit of advantage, or a little bit of an ambush, if you may. They're setting up in the enemy jungle, looking for them to enter in maybe one by one, catch somebody out of position. But here we go. They're actually all coming in all at once. It looks like Silent Red is starting to engage with that Trevenant, but it's Espeon that's going to get the better of them. No respects. Dr. Smash going in half health. They do get chunked down by this Espeon, get closed out by the Delphox. That's absolutely massive for version 1, Ribbon.
Wow, what a flash there to redirect that Mystical Fire on top of Smash there, Kyle. That's going to really just hamper the tempo at the moment because they need this Lucario for the secure. Gapping Gold Missile is burned out to try to KO that Metagross, but it does walk away on 1 HP in a dream. That's a critical move right there from the side of No Title that they're going to have to learn to live without, but V1 still has all of their Unites. They still have plenty of gas in the tank, considering 9 minutes has passed, and really only that Gatling Gold Missile is down for the side of No Title. It's going to require a key Blissus as the Phantom Force is drawn on top of Wailord, but it's not looking like it's really doing anything. The Wailord, they walk away on 1 HP, but they might as well have been effectively knocked out right there. Pirate King unleashing Burning Anger on 2 members of version 1 right there. The DPS is almost gone instantly. Trevenant does have to go for that Desperation score at the moment, but Whaley is able to come back with the Rings Unbound, and that's just an effective ace right there for V1. And with 30 seconds on the clock and Whaley still having access to that Rings Unbound, Kyle, I feel like this is a 2-0 setup here for V1.
Yeah, it's actually going to be too little too late. If you're No-Tile, you're not going to have enough time on the clock. You're not going to have enough money in your pockets, because it is version 1 going to the grand finals of the Articuno League Season 5 Top 8 tournament. No-Tile going down to the loser's bracket.
Yeah, and V1 has yet to drop a map, let alone a set at the moment. V1 looking to blaze a title to number 1 at the moment, man. How broken is Delphox, and how broken is Lico? Managing to eke out 80k in this game. Wow, V1 is looking quite unstoppable at the moment.
Common Lico dub. Just one of the stars that continues to show up for the Crunchy Customs. Just absolutely putting on a clinic along with Team V1. I think Lico is here to stay, folks. Just an absolute great player. Put them on anything. I mean, we've seen them play anything from Masquerada, seen them play bot lane attackers, seen them play, Inteleon and any of those ranged attackers. Like, put them on any sort of damage carry, and it seems like they're going to flourish. And this Espeon was obviously huge and really strong.
Yeah, and taking it away from the side of No-Title, honestly, really interesting to see. I feel like the Cramorant actually worked out really well for the side of No-Title. It's just unfortunate that they were not able to capitalize on the damage the Cramorant was bringing to the table. Pirate King wasn't able to find any knockouts either. A lot of multiple V1 members escaping No-Title teamfight wins on 1 HP. And really just key that V1 was able to really turn such a scattered fight up in the top side and a scattered Ray into a victory for them. Whaley coming in really clutch with those resets, and Laka finding some miracle mystical fires as well.
Yeah, those mystical fires were hitting hard and hitting like a truck. But here we go. Yeah, that was just an absolute clinic by version 1. They're going to be going on to your grand finals, but we are going to be going down to the losers finals, where No-Title is going to be taking on their opponent. I'm not quite sure exactly what it is yet, but we're going to take a quick break to get everything reset up. Take this time, stretch a little bit. We will be right back with the losers finals of the Articuno League playoffs Season 5 Top 8 tournament. Don't go anywhere.